Hello everybody and welcome back to Alex Elliott Golf, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome if you're new to this channel. If you're not already, guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Plenty of content coming throughout the summer to help you and your golf game. Right, so today's video is all about the three death setup moves when chipping. Now, if we sort of categorise all the very good chippers out on the PGA Tour and European Tour, they all have a very good setup, they all have very good ground interaction with the golf club, and they create some very good consistent spin and control trajectory very well. So all in all, if you have a good setup, one, it'll help you do this, and it'll help you control your ground interaction, your bruising action, and then ultimately become a very good chipper because you can control the spin, trajectory, and how far you hit each chip shot. So what are these three death setup moves? Now, I kind of categorize these into three, and these are kind of the three common things I see when people come for me for lessons. So let's first talk about the first death setup move. So this is the one I see, almost like you're stood to it like a full shot. So weight and stance is just in a shoulder width apart, weight is 50-50, and these hands are almost slightly behind the ball. All this does is promotes that kind of scooping action through the golf ball, and it's very hard to get that downward hit and downward bruising action in our sternum ahead of the golf ball like we would like to get. And we'll talk about how to fix these later on in this video. So the first death move, or death setup move we should say, is stance just a little bit too wide, weight 50-50, and for me we're talking about getting a consistent interaction with the ground. Having this setup here, it's very hard to get that consistency when chipping and that consistent ground interaction. So that's my first death setup move. My second one is when I see people with this ball position too far back and this shaft lean that is very, very excessively forward. So we can see here now, all we're going to get is this leading edge sticking in. Yes, okay, if we're wanting to hit a very low one with an 8 iron, this may be the setup we're adopting. But if we're trying to hit that kind of more 50% air, 50% roll with our 58, 56 sand wedge kind of a club around there, this is going to promote a very, very digging action into the golf ball. We're going to see that ball kind of go low and skid, and it's going to be very hard to determine the trajectory, and especially if you need to get up in the air, it's going to be very hard to get it here. So the second setup would be this position here. A lot of shaft lean, ball too far back, and these hands too far forward and the weight too far much on the left side. So that is the second death setup move. Now the final one, it may actually look like a good setup, but for me it's all about the pitch of these shoulders, and we'll adopt this final one now. So they've got a good stance, this player, they get a good ball position, and they get a good shaft, and they've got a good shaft lean where the handle is, it's great. But I often see this, if they get the weight on the left side, they get their shoulders tilting up this way, and again, all this does is promote that scooping action. It's very hard to get that consistent downward hit on the golf ball. So actually, to kind of the naked eye, it looks kind of a very good setup here, but if we actually analyse it a little bit further, we can see these shoulders on a slightly pitched towards the sky. Now if we're hitting a driver, this is exactly what we'd like to see. However, with a chip shot, this is very hard to maintain a consistent ground interaction, because remember at the start of the video we said all good chippers have a consistent ground interaction so they can control the spin, trajectory, flight, and ultimately get that ball stopping around the hole. So let's talk through the fix to these death moves. So if one of those death setup moves is what you see in your golf game, this fix is going to be great for you, and this is what I like to see. And if you came for a lesson for me and you categorized yourself into one of those three setups, this is where we'd start with setup, and from here we'd start to see a better ground interaction with this golf club, we'd start to see a better kind of choice of trajectory, and ultimately we'd be able to play more shots, add shots to your repertoire, but ultimately we'd chip the ball closer more consistently. And we're all striving for that word. The amount of times people come for a lesson is like, I'd just like to get a little bit more consistent. Well, let's stand to the ball better. So let's start off with how we're going to stand to this ball better, and let's talk through the setup to get rid of these death setup moves. So firstly, let's start with where we're going to hold this golf club. Now, I like to see kind of my hands in the middle of this handle. So if I show you this grip here, you can see I've got equal amounts at each end of the golf club. So we don't need to grip this at the end. I don't like to see people right down on the metal here on the shaft. So firstly, let's take this hold in the middle of the grip. Let's then place that golf club down. Now, I like to see this ball position just favouring the back side, so just right of centre. And how we're going to establish this is we're going to firstly get a stance that's just wide of a club width apart, and our ball position now, you can see it there, is just right of centre, so just favouring the back half of my stance. And how I want you to get your weight on the left side now, I want you to feel like you're going to go into your left pocket. So go into the left pocket, we're going to feel 65% of our weight on the left, and now we're in a very good position. So you can see here, we've not got the pitch of these shoulders, we've not got a wide stance, where we're going to be flipping the golf club and trying to scoop it into the air. We've set ourselves up with our sternum slightly ahead of the golf ball to get that nice downward angle of attack. And we're in a very, very nice position here. So we've covered stance, ball position, where we like to hold the golf club, and now we've got our weight on our left side, 65%. Now, I like to have these hands, and I reference kind of the butt of the club here, on my left belt rung. And this will be very similar for people, all gents with the trousers or ladies out there. Let's have your left belt rung as where we want the butt of this club pointing, so not excessively forwards, and definitely not behind the ball either. So we like to see that there, just on the ball or on our left belt rung. So you can see there, I'm in a very, very good setup here to get a consistent ground interaction. And for me, if you can consistently interact with the ground and that bruising action, you're going to become a very, very good chipper of the golf ball. When we struggle to make that consistent interaction, we struggle with creating consistent chip shots around the green. So we're kind of off to a loser there with our setup. If we can't determine our ground interaction, it's going to be very hard for us to chip consistently. So, summarise, really simple. Stance just wide of club width apart, ball position just favouring the back half of our stance, grip in the middle of the golf club, weight favouring the left side 65%, and then from there, where our hands want to be is on our left belt rung, and our butt of the club wants to point there. And from here we've got a really nice setup to determine that ground interaction. And then we can turn it back and hold it through. And basically, just to summarise why this is very good, again I'm going to repeat myself, but we get that nice downward bruising angle of attack, and we get that club consistently interacting with the ground. And because of the way we're stood to it, the club is going to come through at a consistent speed. If we're stood to it wide and having to flip this golf club, it's consistently coming at a different speed. So very hard to judge distance, very hard to judge strike and spin. Thank you for watching today's video on Alex Elliott Golf. If you've not already, guys, make sure you give us a comment down below and see if you like this content, and let me know if this has helped your game. Don't forget to subscribe, and thank you very much, and see you next time on Alex Elliott Golf.